Fight!
Hey everybody, and welcome to Positives. Today we're going to be looking at Austin Powers Pinball. So you guys probably don't know what Positives is, because I just came up with this. Roll tape!
The name. Positives. The plot. Shane is given a new game every episode. Each game is notable for being absolutely terrible. Despite its perceived lack of value and worth, Shane must find 4 positive points to each title he plays. The challenge. While it would be very easy to take all the negatives of these games and list them in a row, it's far harder to actually find positives of these pieces of crap.
Okay, so now that you guys know what's going on, Austin Powers Pinball is one of the worst games I've ever played on the PlayStation, and I'm going to try and find 4 positive things about it, not to repeat that again. But, you know, it's first episode and all, just... Here's the game. Austin Powers Pinball is a generic pinball game that is based off the Austin Powers film franchise. The game is incredibly lackluster with little to no innovation. Limited to only 2 remarkably uninteresting pinball tables, the game has minor audio effects pulled from the first 2 Austin Powers movies, with very minimal graphic design assets or any really interesting table features. It's easy to see why this game has been avoided by most gamers, becoming one of the most unpopular games on the PlayStation. Well, there's a lot of negatives. I mean, this game just has so many things wrong with it, including the ball physics. And in a pinball game, if the ball physics are off, it kind of ruins the whole experience. That being said, the first positive I'll give this game is the tables are actually playable. They don't have too many glitches or anything like that, so you can actually play the game properly and probably do really good at it with a lot of practice. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do that. So, the tables are okay. They work. The next positive is that there are some additional modes. For whatever reason, the modes don't really do anything other than modify the difficulty by giving you more balls or lives. Other than that, doesn't really do too much. There's a tournament play where you can play with up to 4 people. So if you have 4 friends that you're willing to torture for a couple of minutes or hours, depending on how long you want to play the game, then a positive would be that it has 4-player multiplayer. I would really hope that you wouldn't subject your friends to this though, because there's just nothing here. There are better games out there that offer pinball experiences that are just 1,000 times better. Sonic Spinball for Sega Genesis is a much better game than this. There's just really nothing to get from it. Even unlockables are just not a feature that they threw into this. They've done the absolute minimum that they possibly could have to make this an actual game. If they did anything less, it would have just been a disc, a coaster. The 4th positive thing about this game is, well, games like this can be really bad because they're just not well designed, but at least Austin Powers Pinball is like 5 minutes to play a table. Instead of going around and doing 1,000 different story elements or anything that a really bad game would force you to play in long term, you can actually sit down and play both tables in a matter of 10 minutes if you're good enough, and if you really just want to see what the game's all about. That's cool. See, if it was a bad game that forced you to play the game for a really long time, that would be a terrible, terrible thing. But a bad game that goes by really fast? Well, I can deal with that. So, that's Austin Powers Pinball. Not the greatest game in the world, but at least it has some positive points.
Send comments and suggestions directly to Shane via the Twitterverse. Yes, Twitterverse. Birds with messages.